I mean, Regent is definitely like a poor little meow meow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome to Inchworm,
the podcast in which we're inching through worm. I'm Jenny.
and I'm Ted.
We read, what is it, Plague 12.4?
You got it.
Yes! I got it.
How you feeling?
I'm pretty distressed, not gonna lie. It's looking bad for everyone. Everyone.
Was one of my favorite chapters on the reread. I'm so into it. Lots and lots of
man,
good
is
stuff.
it because you wanted Tattletale to die and she's going to? And you're just really into that?
Whoa. Whoa. Okay, gauntlet thrown right off the bat. Well, we can't leave our listeners in suspense. Do you want to summarize what is happening in this chapter?
Yeah, let's do it. So, we left our villain hero standing in this parking garage with no exit, and 4 of the Slaughterhouse 9 were there. Facing off against them? ? We start with Taylor thinking like, okay, is there anything we can do? Wow, probably not. This is really tough, but maybe we could escape with my bugs and Gru's darkness. Cherish immediately picks up on the hope and inspiration there. Jack is like, oh, who had the hope? And Cherish does this description of Taylor that I think we should talk about in depth later.
We get the title.
Yeah, title drop.
She's the worm.
I mean, it kind of matches our understanding of the concept. Yeah. Jack's like, Skitter, you try anything? Siberian and I will attack immediately. We'll kill you before anything you can do can work. And Taylor's like, okay. And Jack's like, yeah, that goes for the rest of you. I'm sure some of you could kill me, but you would die immediately afterwards, and I don't think you're that suicidal. And Taylor's like, oh, seems like he doesn't know he's going to destroy the world. That might change his calculus. Then Jack asks Cherish how our recruits are doing, and Taylor's like, plural. And Bonesaw's like, I wanted to meet you guys. And there's a little bit of a discussion about how Bonesaw hasn't decided on her test yet, because she wants to come up with something original each time. She doesn't want to be boring, and she really cares about it being fair. Mm-hmm. And part of the reason is because she really likes both of these potential recruits and wants to add them as siblings to the family.
Oh.
And if it weren't fair, it would be like she was picking between them. And she specifically says, the dog girl, I love dogs. I've seen pictures of them, and they're beautiful. And Taylor's like, oh, crap. Who picked her? Oh, it must have been Siberian. Wow, she didn't say anything about it. So then Jack pivots a little and is like, I was offended. Meetings tonight and we didn't get invited. And Tattletale is like, yeah, well, we were talking about how to kill you guys. And they have a little bit of banter. And Jack's like, here's what you need to know, Regent bitch. Each of the 9 is going to give you a test. Some of them it's always different. Some of it's the same. Talks about how a few of the tests work. And he says, nobody passes every test. The punishment for failing the test is up to the person who designed it. So it's not automatic death for failing a test, but you could die from the test, or someone could kill you for failing a test. Those are still options. And Regent wants to know what Cherish's tests were, and promises, like, I promise not to do anything she tried, just, to keep from cheating. And so Jack tells them what Cherish's tests were. She did kill Hatchet Face to get in, which counted for Crawler's test, but after that, it sounds like she really went through an intense gauntlet. Like, she was hunted for several days. Then she was like trapped in a room with a little shard of glass moving towards her constantly. And then Mannequin made her disfigure her body in this really intense way. This really, really ugly tattoo that she shows them. And Jack's like, yeah, that hit her at the perfect time. It like pretty much broke her. But then I made her do all of the tests again. So she actually has another horrible tattoo on the other side of her. Really awful. And it's clear that she hates the tattoos. Like, Taylor looking at her is like, oh, there's like a light that's gone out inside of her from having to expose these tattoos to us. And Jack's like, yeah, that's what made you one of us. Liminality. And Taylor reflects on how, wow, yeah, these tattoos make it so she can never leave this behind and get a completely fresh start. And Taylor kind of speculates on like, I knew she was the worst sort of person. I don't know how much of that came before or after the tests. And Regent's like, wow, I thought you were running into this horrible fate. Turns out you've already met it. And Cherish is like, yeah, well, you're going to have something worse. And Tattletale taunts her a little bit about, like, you couldn't do something worse yourself. And Cherish is like, I feel smugness. And Tattletale reveals, like, oh, I've just figured out, Jack, I know you can tell she's trying to manipulate you, but I just realized she's playing a long con where she's setting you all up over, like, a span of months to have you all wrapped around her little finger. And Jack is like, ugh, disappointing, and then lashes out and cuts Tattletale brutally across the face, knocks her down. Huge spray of blood hits Taylor. And Jack's like, yeah, I knew she was doing that. We had all these countermeasures. It was going to be so interesting to see her try, to see if she managed to get around any of the measures we'd put in place. And then when the safeguards that Bonesaw put in us kicked in, like, I really wanted to see her reaction. And Cherish is shocked. She's like, how did you know? I didn't sense you planning. And Jack's like, yeah, I mean, Bonesaw put in some artificial neural connections that, Cherish wouldn't be able to see. So, like, there's a ton going on here. Taylor is very distracted at this point by trying to help Tattletale. This cut is losing a lot of blood, and the way it's placed on her face, it's really, really hard to staunch the bleeding. But Taylor gets Regent to hold her head and give her some cloth, and Jack's like, I wouldn't bother. A wound like that, she'll die of blood loss before you can do anything. And Bonesaw's like, if you agree to be good, I could fix her for you. I could put her teeth on the outside of her face. It would be so cool. And Jack's like, all right, well, we're not going to pose you your tests now. Wanted to give you 2 warnings because it's no fun if the candidates die before we even get to test them. So here we are. The first warning, 2 of the candidates are heroes, for lack of a better word, he says. Cherish reported that, they might be reluctant to be involved in the tests, so we're gonna apply an incentive. Bonesaw pulls out a little vial that makes Tattletale tense, even through her injury situation. And Jack's like, yeah, I would advise you to stick to bottled water. No filtered water, no rainwater, so that's terrible. And then he says, the other thing is that Shatterbird is going to sing loud enough for much of the city to hear her. So, stay away from anything made of glass, any beaches, put away anything in your pockets with a screen. And Taylor's immediately like, I have to warn my dad. I have to warn the people in my territory. But there's Tattletale, so injured at her feet. And Jack's like, yeah, nice to meet you all. And as he starts to leave, Tattletale reaches for something, and Taylor realizes it's a pen and gets Sundancer to help her, and they hold up pen and paper, and Tattletale writes the word deal. And Taylor's like, no, what are you talking about? We have to get you help. And Tattletale bites down on Taylor's hand in her mouth, even though it's gotta hurt her just as badly. And the pain makes Cherish notice and stop and get Jack's attention. And Taylor's like, a deal. She's kind of speaking for Tattletale here. And says, Tattletale wants to know what happens if more than one person is left at the end. We pit them against each other, Jack says. And then Tattletale says, game. She wants to play a game. If there's more than half of the candidates left at the end of the tests, then the Slaughterhouse 9 leave. They can bring a willing member with them if there is one, but either way they have to leave. And Jack's like, I don't think half the candidates could pass the tests. And Taylor says, Brockton Bay has its share of badasses, Jack. And he says, well, I don't see what we get out of it. Tattletale's not writing anything anymore, so Taylor has to step up. She says, it's a challenge. Change to the routine. Keeps things interesting. Maybe keeps things fair, playing on Bonesaw a little bit. And Bonesaw's like, yeah, I like it. And finally Jack is like, we'll discuss it as a group. We'll probably have terms of our own, a steep penalty for when we win. And he turns to leave. Taylor looks down at Tattletale and is like, I don't know what to do. She looks at Gru and says it. He doesn't have an answer. And Tattletale's the one who gives her an answer. She says, go. And Taylor stands up, and Ballistic's like, we can call Coil to send a car to you. And Taylor's like, no, there could be blockages. I just need to go. And she sets off running. She tries to call her house. The number is out of service, and all she can do is run. She doesn't know how far she is, 5 miles, 6. The streets are not in great shape, and she only has 30 minutes. She doesn't know if she can make it. Yeah, we just got several ticking time bombs here.
Yes.
I mean, okay, so we have Tattletale is potentially mortally wounded. I would assume that like, Jack is not trustworthy on the extent of her injuries because, of course, he would love it if they let her bleed out from not trying anything and it turns out she could have been saved. So he's an unreliable person there. There is the Shatterbird threat of 34 minutes from when Jack said that, so about 30 minutes from the end of the chapter, she's going to kill anyone with a screen on their person.
Yeah.
And that potentially includes Danny, if Taylor can't get to him in time. And then there's the biological warfare, the vial that Bonesaw held up that is going to...
The waters of the bay somehow will be unsafe.
Yeah, poison the water. Yeah. I mean, no rainwater, no filtered water, just bottled water is, bad news.
We have our arc title, The Plague.
Yes. I mean, I don't know if it's poison. I don't know if it's germs.
Yeah, we have no idea.
Yeah, but things got really, really bad. I mean, I was right that they did not fight.
Yeah.
Much. I mean, I guess there was some verbal sparring and some Jack action. But they did not fight, but things got really, really bad.
Yeah. Well, how are you feeling?
I just really don't like the Slaughterhouse 9.
Yeah.
Just let people live their lives the best they can, guys.
Yeah.
There's so much pain in this world that we can't avoid. Don't cause more of it. But I do love this deal. Okay. It's a really fun way to get the Undersiders and I guess also the Undlers into the action here.
Point of order. Yeah. There's been some feedback about the term
can't call
Undlers.
It the Undlers.
It's not that we can't call them the Undlers.
Yeah.
But a lot of people have said it's not their favorite.
Okay. Do they have a better proposition?
Wildbow of the Onceler.
It reminds me of that too. I love the Onceler.
Yeah. But Wildbow was like, but now the Onceler has that Tumblr Sexyman aura, which is very different from...
You gotta honor the original Onceler.
Yeah.
Dr. Seuss's Onceler.
But I do want to pitch... I want to pitch some other ideas.
Okay.
Yeah, you never see... Right. You're right. He's a sexy man who's completely off screen.
He's not sexy.
You see his snub, which is pretty sexy, but nothing else. A few needs.
His secret strange hole. That is fair.
I have some pitches.
Okay.
Coalition.
The Coalition. Okay. That's a little broader, but...
Yeah. And also it kind of makes them sound like they're, like we want them to be, as we'll get to, we want them to unionize.
Right. If they're potentially working against Coil, at least they rebelled against him in that meeting. Yeah.
The Skiddlers.
Okay, I mean, that really just sounds like Skidder and the Travelers.
Fair.
But, it's not terrible.
The Grooster Crew.
Well, why is it all about... Oh, Gru and Trickster. I see. Grooster. The Grooster Crew. That's also wordy. The Grooster Crew.
The Brockton Bay Coil Workers Union.
That's worse for wordiness. The point is that Travelers and Undersiders is long.
Or, building off of that, the co-ill workers. Like they're co-workers. Co-workers.
I don't think that... I think that probably works better written down.
All right. But let me pitch you...
All right.
The Unravelers.
The Unravelers. That's very good. I like the Unravelers.
This is my favorite.
Okay.
I'm not sure anything else beats Undlers, but Unravelers I'm happy with adopting.
I feel like the Unravelers has like active merit, whereas the Undlers is just kind of like a shorter form. Like it does everything the Undlers does, but with... It
has even more.
Yeah. And it doesn't echo the Onceler, which I guess if that bothers people, we don't want to do that.
Bothers might be strong, but...
All right, the Unravelers. That's very good.
Are there any Tumblr sexy men in the Unravelers?
You mean specifically like the Undersiders, the Travelers, do they have any Tumblr sexy men?
Yeah, among their ranks.
You mean people who would be?
Yes.
Or like, okay. I mean, Regent is definitely like a poor little meow meow.
Yeah.
I mean, Tumblr would like a lot of these characters. I don't know. We'd need to know more about the backstory of the Travelers.
That's true. We'll return to this super important question.
Yes,
very relevant to the contents of the chapter as well.
Accurate. Yeah, so the Unravelers, I forget what I was talking about.
Oh, no, I'm so sorry.
I remember. I was saying I love that the Unravelers, potentially not just the Undersiders, but the whole Unraveler group will be brought into this testing situation. Like it really brings them all, ties them closely into this action. and gives them agency instead of just them being like, oh no, Regent and bitch, oh no. Like, now they're trying to protect all the candidates, which would be really difficult. It almost feels like we've started a different book. Like, all of a sudden, this is the gambit, right? Of, like, how do we strategize, like, protecting more than half, I guess, was it? Well, do they need to have 4 alive, or do they need to have 5 alive?
I don't know how specific it is.
More than half is what it says. So they need to have 5 out of 8 alive.
Yeah.
Does Oni Lee count? Like, how are we even counting that one?
Who knows?
So there can really, potentially there are only 2 who can die.
But if Oni Lee doesn't count, then they can lose 3 out of 7. So
right. Okay. That's a great point. Yeah. So maybe they need 4 out of 7 to stay alive. So that's really tough. Hopefully Regent and Bitch will be 2 of them. Yeah. Yeah.
How are you feeling about Bitch? We don't get a lot from her.
We got nothing from Bitch. She was staring at the Siberian.
Yeah.
Holding her puppy, which might be, communication in its own right. But we know she was kind of like, I'm not necessarily playing by their rules, which easy to say when you're facing this battery of tests. They aren't really opt-in.
I did want to bring up one other detail that we glossed over when we were talking about Bitch and her puppy. Mm-hmm. But now that we know that she's calling the puppy bastard, I did want to call back to the end of the Bitch interlude when the puppy bites her finger and she smiles and says, little bastard.
Oh, yeah.
So there was an origin for the name that we saw before this.
Oh, that's cute. In a way.
But we get like when Bonesaw brings up the dog girl, Taylor like feels a chill and like that Bitch is this like lurking horror behind her. So I mean, I feel like you were pretty worried about her, but like, should Taylor be worried? Like we just get nothing from her.
Right. I mean, Taylor should be worried. I don't know where Bitch will fall. Now that the Unravelers are trying to keep all of the candidates alive, they will also be trying to keep Bitch alive, so they're sort of working with her even if she is competing for a seat that she actually wants, which it's unclear if she is. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I do love that Tattletale created this situation where like, oh, they don't actually have to leave with someone. If they don't get a willing volunteer, then they don't get anyone. Yeah, and it's also like Tattletale having 2 teammates in this. Like, she thinks so fast, even when she's suffering from horrible blood loss and like potentially mortally wounded. She managed to create a situation where Bitch and Regent can both survive.
Yes.
It's also like whatever the Slaughterhouse-9 agrees to, if they do agree to this, if they add their own terms, it's going to be real bad. And this is the kind of book where Tattletale's Gambit may not pay off. Mm-hmm. I kind of feel like we've had a lot in the negative column recently. I mean, this chapter... Just everything with Brockton Bay recently after the Endbringer attack. Like, I feel like the narrative could handle a win.
Okay, interesting.
Without, pulling any punches.
Yeah.
So I'm hopeful that they will pull this off.
Yeah.
We have seen the Undersiders do well in a lot of things so far.
Right, and there are a lot of stakes. Right, there's the immediate ticking time bombs you mentioned, but now it's like, does Brockton Bay win or does the Slaughterhouse-9 win, assuming Tattletale's terms more or less go through? Mm-hmm. There's the question of like, who, if anyone, even survives whatever these quote-unquote tests are? Right. Who, if anyone, would be willing to leave, even if Brockton Bay wins,
Brockton Bay wins, but there's some sort of plague. Does anyone want to stay?
Yeah. There's the question, does Jack leave alive is another thing that we've teed up before, right? Yeah. There are a lot of interesting, I guess, binary choices that are being
does Tattletale live?
Does Tattletale live?
I mean, I'm going to say yes. We've seen her life threatened before. Again, I feel like this narrative could do anything to us. Mm-hmm. But I think it's so much more interesting if she's still alive. Yeah. She is such a valuable character from a storytelling perspective.
Absolutely.
I think if she dies, that would be interesting in terms of like the effect on the Undersiders. But I think the story potential is just a lot greater if she lives. Yeah. So I don't think there's a lot to be gained narratively by killing her. So it seems unlikely. Yeah. Unless we just want the shock value.
Especially her effect on Taylor.
Yes.
I thought that this sequence, this is one of like my favorite character beats from Taylor so far, I feel like, just watching it unfold. Because, I mean, all of the writing is, like, super tense, but when Tattletale gets injured first, it's incredible procedural writing, because Tattletale stops talking, and Taylor's like, I'm blind. Like, what is this wet, salty, sticky stuff? Oh my god, it's blood. And, like, Gru is shouting, and she smears the blood off, and then she sees the extent of the injuries, right? And so it, like, it leaves you as confused and worried as Taylor is in that moment. It's really, really good. We get Taylor's power being in overdrive, a mention again, right? That she's suppressing her power, right? I mean, again, the detail of Tattletale's injury is awful. Just like the way Taylor is like, how do you staunch blood loss on a wound that has like cut her from the side of her mouth all the way to the edge of her jaw? Yeah. Right? Like where it's, you know, she's like putting her hand into her mouth. She's got like the half Joker thing. Yeah. She's
going to need a different mask.
Yeah, for sure. And as she is doing the first aid, there's this bit where she says, hold her head, Regent. Don't let her pull away. And cloth, I said, my voice small. Need some kind of cloth to absorb the blood. There's this beat earlier in the chapter where Jack says, hey, Skitter, don't try anything. And you get Taylor being like, I swallowed, then took a small breath to clear my throat and ensure I wouldn't stammer or come out sounding even slightly unclear. All right. And I feel like we have had a lot of Taylor being like, I'm feeling bad on the inside, but I'm going to keep my composure. I'm going to communicate very clearly, not emote at all. And then we get this, my voice small bit, which reads to me as an unusual amount of emotion coming through in a way that, like, being trapped by the Slaughterhouse-9 initially was not pushing her there, but seeing Tattletale bleeding out in front of her is. An interesting note, though, is, like, a couple paragraphs later, when she's like, more cloth, she thinks, keeping my voice quiet so it wouldn't carry to the members of the 9 that were standing nearby. Which is so funny because it contradicts my thing about like, oh, she's keeping her voice small because she's just trying to whisper. Yeah. But I think this is Taylor rationalizing. Right? It's her being like, she heard herself be like, oh, more cloth. More, you know, and now she's like, okay, but I'm being quiet for a strategic reason. And like Jack just talks at her.
It's a fairly weak strategic reason. Like Cherish can sense everything. And they can feel it. And
Jack literally responds. Like she's not actually whispering. Right. You know, right? So like, but I love this as a detail of like her rationalization engine working, and then just like. Jack keeps talking. She's thinking, why couldn't he stop talking so we could take Tattletale somewhere where she could get the help she needed? Right? Like, she is trapped. Tattletale is hurt.
She must have so much bug range right now.
Yes. Everything in her is focused on helping Tattletale. Like, she cannot be a bystander. She has to do something. But she knows that if she does something, right, before Jack leaves, right, that's like a mistake, right? So, like, it's absolutely the worst, you know, situation for her already. And then the Shatterbird thing comes up. And she thinks, like, oh, Dad, the people in my territory, I had to warn them, but I looked down at Tattletale and felt paralyzed. Yeah. And then she admits to her team that she's stuck. She says, I don't know what to do. Barely audible to herself. She looks at Gru and says louder, I don't know what to do. And then she thinks, it was Tattletale who gave me my orders. Tattletale gets a go out of her mouth, and Taylor thinks, go. I stood wobbling slightly as I backed away from her. She looked so fragile, lying on her side, blood pooling beneath her head, around her dirty blonde hair, and I was leaving her there. So she never decides. Yeah. Right? Yeah. From the beginning of the paragraph, she hears go, and then as she's backing away, she thinks, oh, I'm leaving her. Yeah. Right? Like, she just actually gets stuck. Right? Taylor in this moment is trapped and then has completely run out of options, but looks to her team for an order, and then like is like, great, I've got my orders, I'm gonna move, I'm not gonna question it, here I go. And I really, really love it. I love that her depth of feeling to save her friend rivals even the pride that she feels in her territory and all the people there, her connections to those people, her connections to Danny, right? It's an impossible, it's like a Sophie's choice.
Yeah.
You know, splitting the baby. Like, what
but
could
honestly,
she do?
I think she wouldn't have obeyed Tattletale's command if it wasn't what she wanted to do. Like, I mean, I think it is probably the right choice. I don't know if she can reach Danny, but like her connection to Danny runs so much deeper than her connection to Tattletale. And also Tattletale has other people there who can help. Danny is not going to get any help if she doesn't provide it.
Interesting.
So I think it was the right choice. Whether she can get there in time is an open question. It was the right choice, and I think it was the one she wanted to make, but she needed Tattletale to give her that push, that permission.
That's interesting. I mean, I hear that. I do feel like, though, if someone had said stay or someone had said to do something else, that she might have just gone with the flow.
She might have, yeah.
Yeah. I definitely see this as a moment of Taylor losing control.
Yeah.
Not in a sense of like, she's losing control and she's, you know, like, now the bugs are attacking people, or like she's losing control and she's like lashing out. But like, she's such a planner and a mover. And here she loses control in the sense that she's paralyzed, and then she gives up control, and Tattletale lets her go, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sure Tattletale sees this on Taylor, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's Tattletale being like, I'm cooked, so you might as well try and save Danny, or if it's Tattletale being like, I have people here, but Danny has no one but you. You should go, right? Like, who knows?
And Tattletale knowing it would destroy Taylor if she didn't try to save Danny.
That's also hugely true. Yeah.
I was thinking in this passage, I just read like a Tumblr post of like all these people who have worked in like first responder roles or 911 operators, that kind of thing, and just talking about the effect of shock on people's cognition, and just like people get real stupid and like nonsensical like very quickly under especially injury. And I was wondering, I was like, does Tattletale's power protect her from that? Like, she's a thinker. Like I bet it does. I bet it preserves her cognition.
100%.
But I think Taylor was suffering from a psychological version of that.
Yeah.
Where she did not have her normal mental clarity.
Yeah.
It's amazing how well Tattletale does under these circumstances.
You love to see it.
The whole, like...
She's incredible.
Deal, game, manages to spell out the terms.
Yeah, she's bleeding out, maybe dying, and she can't talk, which is her whole thing.
That's so true.
And she will not let Jack have the last word, right?
It's so true.
This is...
she succeeds. Like, Jack is, like, clearly unhappy about it, but Bonesaw's on board. That thanks to Taylor, I think. And he's like, well, I guess we'll discuss it with the team, which is sort of a defeat for him.
Yeah. Yeah. And, I mean, one thing I love about that, right, is that Tattletale's the one who sets it up, but then either sort of, like, she knows that Taylor has it from here, or Tattletale's, like, kind of done all she can do, and then Taylor gets to be the one to piece it together that, like, oh, I'll make a bid to Bonesaw about fairness, and Bonesaw goes for it, and then Jack is like, yeah, I'll do what Bonesaw wants, sure. You know, I kind of feel like that's really, Tattletale sets the scene for the whole deal to happen. Jack's like, I don't get it. And Taylor's like, but Bonesaw, you get it. And Bonesaw's like, yeah. And Jack's like, all right, sure, Bonesaw, sure. Which is, you know, we'll talk about their, like, dynamic, I think, more, but... Yeah, so it's great. It's a really good Tattletale moment. It is fun that Taylor gets some agency in kind of like sealing the deal. But I love, just like this passage here. She's reaching for her pen. She scrawled out one word, deal. Then she looked up at me, her eyes wide. No, I whispered. We have to get you help, and I have to go warn. She stabbed at me with the pen and clenched her teeth against the back of my hand, which must have caused her incredible pain. Like, this is the mirror of when Taylor said, I'm not leaving if we don't save Charlotte, right?
Yeah.
Tattletale is like, you will speak for me in this moment, right? And Taylor trusts her, right? Like, Taylor does not overrule it. She's like, yeah, this is important enough to Tattletale. I'm gonna see it through.
Yeah. I'm thinking now about the thing where Taylor's range is probably better. So she's going after Danny. Yeah. She says she's a bad judge of distance. It's probably 5 or 6 miles. She has half an hour. If it's 6 miles, that's 5-minute miles. Like, no, she's not running that.
If it's 6 miles, it's basically impossible.
Yeah. even 5 miles, I mean,
5 miles would be incredible.
running, but like, I don't know how fast she is.
But it's also, it's not a straight shot, right? She's saying like the city's messed up.
Right.
So
is it 5 miles
does
as
she
the
mean
crow
as the crow flies?
Yeah. So I think it's gonna have to be her bugs.
Yeah.
If she's gonna succeed at this, and I think she will because it'll be cool to see her succeed.
Yeah.
She's gonna have really good range because she is trapped, she's desperate, she's helpless. She's going to have really good range. She's going to have to find Danny with her bugs, and she's going to have to communicate Shatterbird. Yeah. She's going to have to spell it or something.
Yeah.
And I think she can. I think she will.
Yeah.
I want to see it. Bring it on.
It's going to be good. I will say, I feel like next chapter is another iconic one.
Oh my God.
Like,
okay.
One of the things that I think about.
A lot going on here.
But similar in the way that like the chapter where she's in her lair and like fighting the merchants. At a distance is iconic. Yeah. Right. Like it's not necessarily about the momentousness of the chapter and more about
it's
like
just
this is the one that starts out with Taylor running home. Right. Like that's the
yeah.
It sticks in my mind when I think about notable chapters from book 2.
Ooh, okay. So let's go to the worm of it all.
We got the title. Taylor is the worm, right?
She is the worm. It's true.
Been answered.
Yeah.
Cherish is Wildbow confirmed? No, that's a bad take.
Yeah, no, I think
do you want to read?
He does manipulate the emotions of the people in his story, though.
Yeah. It's true. I mean, it's true. Do you want to read any of it that you found was good?
Okay, let's do it. When I looked at her with my power before, I called her the worm. She spent some time being as low on the food chain as you can get while still being able to move under her own power. As low as someone can get while still having an identity of their own. But she's realized she's poisonous, dangerous in her own unique way. She's useful, like a silkworm we harvest or an earthworm who works our gardens. She's even realized she's not alone, so long as she looks for friends among other dirty, contemptible creatures. Speaking of which, I forgot to say hi, little brother. So, like, that is in a way segueing into a dig at Regent, but it is a somewhat accurate portrait of Taylor, but shaded to hurt her and reduce her idea of herself.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And it's interesting that we don't get any reflection on it from Taylor. We don't get to see if it lands. I feel like that's something she might reflect on while running.
That's interesting.
Cherish called me a worm, and it's true. I'm useful, but only in these small ways, and I can't get this thing done. Yeah.
Yeah. That last line you read, she's not alone as long as she looks for friends among other contemptible creatures, right?
But what a twisting of the truth.
Right. But to me, the pin that dropped for me here is like, this is true because that's why she can't look at Danny, right? I think it's that part of her that's ashamed that her friends are bad guys, right? It's like...
Well, it's tapping into her fear.
Right.
I think that, there's a part of Taylor that would say what they do is contemptible. The idea of like, well, they're lowly, low down is like, I think that's not necessarily accurate of anything about them.
Well, that's true. That's true. That is, and Taylor even says in this chapter, there are a lot of badasses in Brockton Bay, right? So, but I do wonder if there's a tension there where is she saying worms are badasses? Or is she saying we're not worms because we're badasses? Like there's an interesting thing there.
It's a good question. I mean, she makes worms fight for her.
But the other thing that Cherish got right here, and that like I just love that a character has a power that just like spells out some of the themes of the story. Like we've talked about a lot of this so far, but like this is great. It's so great to have this in the text now, right? But like Sophia's whole thing to Taylor is like, you suck. You'll always be the worst of the worst. You're the worm of this high school, right? And I think Taylor had internalized that to some degree, and like nobody would help her with the bullying, and nobody helped her during her trigger event. And part of like the identity crisis of her power, right? Like she's not getting a power that's like, now I'm not a worm. She's getting a power that's like, well, actually, worms are useful.
Yeah.
Right? And so she's endlessly creative at finding a use for bugs. But they're still just bugs.
Yeah.
And like, there's a thing where like one bug right, is a nobody. Like a worm on its own is nothing. And so like Taylor acts as a swarm, but still feels a little bit in herself that she's just like a solitary bug. And that's part of her frustration with coordinating and communicating with others, right? It's like, I feel like there's this tension in her power itself. And the thing that really clicked for me here is that I think previously we talked about like, oh yeah, well, so Taylor, she felt like awful. She felt like a worm. Nobody was helping her. And then her power lets her control worms. You know, it doesn't maybe feel quite as, you know, harmonious as some of the other power combos like Bitch or Labyrinth. But what I realized is that like Taylor's power is her self-control. Right?
Oh.
In the first arc, she's a worm, but she's also the person who keeps the worm from, like...
turning
on her tormentors.
Yeah.
Right? Like, her power is like, all of these creepy crawly bugs could really do some damage.
Yeah.
But her power is also, but I'm not going to let them. Right? She gets the perfect control to basically prevent herself from going carry or whatever is like what her power does.
Proposal. In this speech, Cherish is calling the Unravelers, the people around her, also worms, essentially. And you know what Taylor does? She coordinates the worms. She controls the worms. She turns them to a purpose. She gathers enough of them to matter, and then she does really cool and inventive stuff with them. And I think, you know, we've seen a little bit of that so far in the story. Her doing cool stuff in a crisis, her using all the people around her without a thought.
I always go back to that guy in the Leviathan fight where she's like, hey, burn this person's face.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like the fight where she gouged Lung's eyes out was the big one for me. I guess that maybe that's where we realized of her just like sending people off to do things. Not the neuter thing so much as like sending Bitch to like get the purses or whatever, like that stuff. This is kind of what I wanted for her at the end of Arc 8 of like, oh, I want her to like make a coalition, not a coalition, a coalition against the Endbringers. And like, that doesn't seem to be an imminent thing, but like, I do want her to become a unifying force for people like the Unravelers who are like maybe the scum of society in some ways, but are like, not awful the way the Slaughterhouse 9 people are, and use them to her purposes, which I think will be good purposes.
And going back to what I was saying earlier about the effect of, you know, Tattletale being knocked down here had on Taylor, this is a real low point for her. Taylor, in this chapter, loses her ability to issue orders to herself. Right? Like obviously, like, true. In text, her power's off the charts.
But she needs to get the order from Tattletale.
Right, but she's like at her, one of the lowest points that we've seen her here, where she doesn't know what to do. Right? Like, even against Leviathan, right, she was constantly doing stuff. Right? Like, she had
I was like, what's she doing there? She knew. She figured it out.
Yeah. The other bit of the worm speech that I loved is when it's a little bit later, Cherish is like, I'll paraphrase, but like, she's found a nugget of self-worth, but she doesn't want to look at what it's made of too closely. Which again, it feels very much like this part of Taylor.
That's true.
Right. The part that she doesn't examine so much is like how much she likes or doesn't like villainy or what it meant to her to be a hero, right? All of that stuff. And then you had brought up this interesting theme about eyes, and Cherish brings it up in this chapter as in, it's a good thing worms are blind, right? So she can't see, which I thought was really interesting. So like...
And then Jack puts blood in her eyes deliberately. Like, she's the one who gets the blood sprayed directly across.
And Taylor sees Cherish looking dead in her eyes, right? There's a, eyes being a window to the soul thing. So yeah, this really, the image of the worm as a blind thing is really interesting in following this motif. Yeah. If it continues in the story.
The part of Cherish's speech that I think is made more of spite than of truth is the part where she says, like, she's useful, like a silkworm we harvest or an earthworm who works in our gardens. Like, putting her so far beneath Cherish, beneath the Slaughterhouse 9. Like, I think that's that's just her being mean. That's her like preying upon Taylor's weaknesses.
Yeah.
Rather than reflecting accurately what the truth is.
Yeah. And it makes sense. It's also, right, like, Cherish can see, like Tattletale can, right? Like the buttons being pushed in real time, right? So she's had a while to, like, just look at Taylor's emotions, and so she knows what she's insecure about, right? She can see, we know Cherish can hear the music about, like, Taylor's relationship to other people and all of the worries and fears that she has, right? So, of course, she can calculate it to really hurt.
Yeah, so speaking of Cherish, this was a chapter kind of like the one where Sophia was taken over, where I was like, oh, this person is, like, truly abysmal, but I do feel bad for her.
Yeah, Taylor even thinks that.
Yeah.
Though, actually, I do want to, before we leave Taylor and go to Cherish.
Sure.
When Taylor thinks that, right, like, she thinks, I knew she was the worst sort of person. I just didn't know how much of that came before the tests. And I was wondering a little bit of Taylor projecting about, like, all of the bad stuff that she's done. A little bit like, oh, well, how much of this is because of my circumstances? Or, like, does the fact that I've done some bad things make me a bad person the whole time? Is an interesting thematic point.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like with Cherish, most of it predated the test, because why else would you put yourself in that circumstance? Like, she very voluntarily went into it in a way that, like, almost no one else does. Like, she's the only one who didn't get recruited.
Yeah.
And, you know, she went out of her way to kill a member of the Slaughterhouse-9 at, like, you know, with great difficulty.
Yeah. I thought it was so powerful. We had pinned on her an insecurity about wanting people to actually like her, right?
Yes.
Versus, like, her being able to use her power to make anyone like her.
Yeah.
And so the thing that broke her being making herself ugly in a way that she believes nobody will ever actually like her in that way again without having to use her power. Yeah. Right? Like, that feels very on point for her character. And gives a little bit more credence to your theory about what was going on between her and the guard in her interlude. Where, like, she's living out the fantasy of, like, you know, oh, well, maybe I can get... Like, she's chasing that, well, maybe I can get this guy to like me without using my power. Right. The stakes are even higher because of what she's done to herself.
Yeah, she has this enhanced insecurity. Yeah, I mean, the tests are, like, the most intense form of hazing, right? Like, and it seems like they're very effective in the way that hazing is. Like, they break people, they twist people. Not so much like the sunk cost element, though I imagine that's there, but the, like, oh, I've lost parts of myself. I can't fit into any other world. This is the only community for me.
Which mirrors, again, a little bit of how Taylor feels.
Yes, oh my gosh, it absolutely does. Now that she's found belonging here, she's not going to be able to fit in anywhere else.
I just thought, like, these tests, it's so creative, the cruelty heaped upon Cherish. And it's so tantalizing narratively because, right, like, we get sort of this exposition about, like, how a test will go. And we get some truly awful details, like the tattoos, being trapped in a room by Shatterbird with her glass moving around, like, being chased. But then some of the stuff is like, oh, and then Burnscar's test, she failed. But I'm not going to tell you about that because it spoils it. And then, like, and, you know, Siberia's test is boring. She just hunts you,
for 3 days.
For 3 days. And, you know, was it like she almost got caught a third time. Yeah. And then that's when Cherish looks like she's having, you know, traumatic flashbacks in that moment. And but again, like the combination of awful details you get and awful details you don't get does such a good job of really selling. I mean, having the terror.
8 of them is so many. You have space for that variety. Yeah, we can know exactly what some of them are going to be. We know that some of them will be new, and some of them are known by Jack, but, like, he's not telling us. Like, it's just...
And we get...
such a fun smorgasbord.
And Jack's whole taken out the keystone thing here,
Yeah.
right? We get to see an example of that with Cherish, right? Like, Mannequin's test broke her, keystone. Again, that's not really the metaphor, but like that's the piece that in Jack's mind pushed her from being an outsider to somebody who was more of an insider, crossing that liminal state.
But we do have the machinations inside the Slaughterhouse-9 where, like, Jack and Bonesaw and maybe others were sort of teaming up to defeat Cherish's plot. And, like, she seems to be lower on the food chain of the Slaughterhouse-9 than, say, Bonesaw, who really seems to have Jack's ear.
That's a really good point. Yeah, I wonder, was it just an inside game between Jack and Bonesaw versus Cherish? Yeah. Or was everybody in the Slaughterhouse-9, in on it, right? So that...
I'm not sure you could ever get everyone in the Slaughterhouse-9 in on anything.
Yeah. And to your earlier point, right, it's such effective hazing. It really shows you how the Slaughterhouse-9 operate. There is this sense that Cherish butted in where she wasn't wanted, and none of them really liked Cherish. And, like, the way that Jack and Bonesaw are, like, setting this up, it does sort of invite the question of, like, is Cherish's experience typical, or is it even worse because they don't like her and she's kind of a poser, right? Like, there is an interesting, like...
It's unclear, yeah, because I could imagine this being how the group just operates in general, where, like, no one's really ever able to relax and be at ease. Like, everyone's always playing off against each other, And
I sort of see a little bit of, like, the way Burnscar reached out to Labyrinth and was like, do I have anything outside of this? No, I don't.
Yeah.
As being like Cherish, if Cherish's plan wasn't working or whatever, like Cherish a few years out, maybe reaching out to another one of her siblings in kind of like I do sort of see like Burnscar as being further down a similar Cherishy path.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and it's also like, again, if it's just a Jack and Bonesaw versus Cherish thing, then maybe this is just how the Slaughterhouse-9 normally operate, and they kind of have their own, like, side game. Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah. Sidebar, but I love that we have once again been handed a really bad group of villains that make the Unravelers seem like saints, in comparison. And Taylor gets to work with her friends to bring them down. Yes. I really want them to be brought down.
And of the acceptable targets, quote unquote, that we've had in the story so far, the Slaughterhouse-9 are by far like
way worse than anything except maybe the Endbringers.
Yeah. Like, right. It's like you kind of were saying, like, oh, this reminds me of Sophia,
like,
but like
paling in comparison in terms of what they've actually done.
Yeah, I just feel like I could imagine Sophia fitting in the Slaughterhouse-9.
Yes,
but
she's not there yet.
No, and I think Cherish is worse. I think they're all worse.
Oh yeah,
they all
much
suck.
Worse. But they've all also been through these tests.
Exactly.
I don't know what Sophia would be like after she had been through those tests.
Once you're in the, like, serial killer fan club made of serial killers, there's pretty much anything goes.
Yeah.
I was wondering a little bit, right, when Taylor has that line about, like, I don't know, Jack, Brockton Bay is full of badasses. Right, obviously, she's talking about her friends, but I do wonder if she's counting, like, Coyle, among, right, like, is she reaching to some of the people that she doesn't think that well of in that moment and being like, hey, but at least they're badasses and they're from my town and they're better than you, It reminded me a little bit of just, like, the small town pride. Like, even Legion is like, get out of my city, Sophia.
Yeah. It's interesting that they are, Jack, we've already seen, is someone who values interest and challenge above other things, because I feel like Cherish is a really valuable member of their group, actually.
Yeah.
The way she identified the candidates in this city, the way she can identify anyone, She probably knows Coyle's power. I don't know how much she can read his mind, but if she's studied him at all, she's probably figured it out.
That is really interesting.
Yeah, so it is funny, like, Jack is not someone who wants the most power possible. He wants to continue giving up little bits of his power in ways that continue to challenge him.
That's a good take.
Yeah, despite the fact that Cherish is such a useful member, he might not actually be committed to keeping her around.
Yeah.
I mean, I predicted that Cherish is not going to make it the 6 months needed for her plan. And in fact, I did not predict strongly enough how much her plan wouldn't succeed.
Well, how did you feel about that? Like, getting that, because it's been only a handful of chapters. We got this whole Cherish versus Jack thing.
What a boost to Jack and Bonesaw's rep. Like, having seen through this, because we saw how powerful Cherish is, how effective she is. And Jack, despite not having any power in that area, figured out what she was doing, managed to keep her from realizing that he figured out what she was doing.
They have artificial brain parts that Cherish can't detect.
Managed
it's incredible.
to work with Bonesaw to get artificial neural connections that Cherish can't detect without Cherish noticing that happening.
Yeah, they have a back channel. Shout out to my Seek readers.
Yeah, it really makes them seem extra intimidating because, I mean, Jack is as good as Tattletale without having that power.
Yeah.
And that's terrifying because, I mean, his actual power just sliced her face open. Like, he is such a formidable opponent.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it'll be really fascinating to see how Tattletale tries to beat him. Because this really is a Tattletale versus Jack fight now, so I hope she's not dead.
Mm-hmm. That'd be pretty cool.
If she were dead.
It would be cool either way. I have a poker face on. You shall not be reading anything about... I think Tattletale's done enough in the story so far that she could be my favorite character.
Even if she died right now.
Even if she died right now.
But then who's going to defeat Jack?
On the other hand, you know, if you were going to kill Tattletale, why wouldn't she die on screen? Like
That's
would you really
true.
have her bleed out while Taylor's running in the next chapter, right? And like, you know, Jack could have killed her. I think
he could have slit her throat, definitely.
Right, he chose this.
But then he did think it would be fun to see if her friends would give up on her.
Yeah, yeah. So I want to talk about that moment and how it works as like almost a fourth wall break, kind of. Mm-hmm. Like, I want to talk about their powers as like narrative, right? Like, Jack's whole personality seems to be about, like, he's interested in a good story, right? Theo convinced him, like, I'm going to become a badass hero that will take you down. And Jack's like, nah, but that'd be a great story, so let's go with it. And here again, they kind of do the same thing Theo did, where, like, Tattletale's like, we'll make it a game, and we can maybe win the game. And, you know, Jack's like, I just don't think enough of you could survive, right? Like, and I don't really see, but again, he's like, this is interesting, right? Like, sure, this is interesting. Bonesaw likes it, sure, right? Like, he's interested in all of that. And then we see with the Cherish thing, right? What he is invested in is like, oh my gosh, Cherish has this plan. It's going to play out over months and months and months. And I already know how it ends, right? Like it ends with me winning, but I'm so excited to watch it unfold. And I'm living for that final, like, narrative payoff, right? So I feel like this is his whole deal. Mm-hmm. And Tattletale's power, he says she spoiled it. Her power is spoilers. She ruins his story. Yeah. Right? Yeah. He already knew how it ends, but he's almost like his role in the story right now. He's coming here to deliver some exposition. I feel like he's almost kind of like his own game master, right? Like, he's playing the role of like, oh, I'm going to set up all of these pieces. And like,
right, he's the storyteller. She spoiled his story for everyone else.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And so that's what actually makes him lose his cool, right? Tattletale is trying to push buttons the whole scene because she's like, oh, that's reference. Like, good reference, right? And but anyway, in addition to, right, like, it making sense for the characters, it works on the same level for us. Because again, we had this amazing story setup of Cherish versus the Slaughterhouse 9, and then it gets completely blown up. And and like, Jack was like, he was aware of it, but we weren't aware that he was aware. So like, we would have been invested in it. Mm-hmm. And Tattletale ruins it for Cherish, for Jack, and for us, and pushes the narrative forward into like a new space.
I mean, also, it was the kind of story where I was like, we're not going to see the Slaughterhouse 9 on the timescale that this plan would work.
Oh, so, yeah.
You know, it was good to have it ended in this dramatic way because that's a more satisfying ending than I think any other it would have gotten.
That's a great point. Yeah. That's a great point. It also made me think again about, like, we know through superpowers in the story, if they directly fight the Slaughterhouse 9, they will almost certainly lose. So again, like, Dinah's power has given the narrative extra juice by being like, okay, so the obvious thing isn't going to happen. Yeah. Like, we know that's not going to happen, so there has to be something more creative.
I don't know if Coyle ever asked about the joint unravelers facing the Slaughterhouse 9.
Of course. No, there is that loophole there.
And this, I mean, this isn't direct combat, so maybe it doesn't fall under the predictions anyway, but...
Yeah, or maybe this is, maybe this Tattletale's not looking so hot, so...
That's true.
Could be on the bad side of the odds. And, again, another fun narrative thing, right? Coyle doesn't have their back right now.
Yeah.
Either way, one of his coils stayed behind, or both of his coils are on the island right now.
Both of his coils are on the island, absolutely.
Right, 100%. So they do not have his backing, and so, like, this moment could get really bad, right?
Yeah.
In a way where, like, they had... narrative like bumpers up on the bowling alley of the story.
Yeah.
And it's so exciting, right, to know, there is no out there where we're like, oh God, well, Coyle,
there's nothing that can happen to save
bad
Tattletale's life.
Right?
Yeah.
The thing that got me thinking about this, though, was actually another fourth wall break where Taylor is doing her Taylor thing of being like, okay, we could attack them. No, bad idea. Okay, we could run away. Oh, okay, well, maybe. And then Cherish cuts her off. Like, literally the narration is interrupted by Cherish being like,
Someone has hope.
Yeah, you're thinking, right? So, like, the thing that Taylor normally does, like, living in, again, this, like, ambiguously timed liminal mental space of narration, right? Taylor can just talk for pages and pages through all of her theories and just, like, we don't need time to pass.
Of course.
Right? So the fact that one of the characters has the ability to be like, no, Taylor, you can't think for pages and pages because as soon as you have a good idea, I'm going to cut you off.
That's so funny, yeah.
And the coercion again of like, oh, Jack, Siberian, Cherish being here and being like, oh, Skitter, you like, trying stuff and crazy schemes. Well, now we're watching you. And if you do something, we will kill you. Right? Like, they're really pulling a lot of the things that we normally like to see away. And it's a really nice harmony of like, yes, they are overpowered within the setting, but they also shake up our narrative expectations as well.
Yeah. And I was just thinking of what you were saying about Jack as the storyteller in terms of his power. Like, his power has nothing to do with his thinking about people, seeing their weaknesses, his storytelling, except that he has the power to yell cut, basically. He has the power to stop. He has the power to stop any story. I mean, that's what he does. He's like, what will be the implications if I cut this person from the narrative?
Yeah.
And someone ruins his story, he yells cut, he cuts Tattletale's face, Yeah,
and there's also, it is weird. Like what are they doing here, right? They're here, I guess, a little bit to say like, hey, don't drink the water, don't be around glass. We're going to maybe need your help with Colin and Amy.
Bonesaw wanted to meet them. I think he only mentioned the Colin and Amy thing because as context for like why they're going to poison the water supply.
Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
But that will be useful information for Tattletale figuring out who.
Yeah, but so like the fact that Tattletale ruins Jack's day, right? I do kind of like. I feel like he's just kind of in a bad mood after that point.
Yeah,
and like I feel like his heart's not in it. Like he is sort of trying a little bit. At the beginning, he's doing his aura thing. Like, he's the way he's just like, oh, Cherish, obey me. Like, take off your shirt. Like, he doesn't put any sauce on it, but she's terrified of him, right? Yeah. Like, and, like, telling Taylor not to move, right? His comment about no exit, like, all of this stuff. But then by the end of it, he's like, yeah, okay, Bonesaw, sure.
We'll
play
talk
a game.
about the thing, yeah.
Yeah, like, I feel like his exit is not nearly up to snuff in terms of theatricality.
He warned us there was no exit.
That's fair. It's great to have someone with such a narratively strong power on our side as well. Because Jack comes into this thinking he knows exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And he gets messed up.
Yeah, that's true. I'm bummed that it'll probably be multiple chapters before we get to see Tattletale analyzing what they can do against the Slaughterhouse Nine and who the recruits are.
Yeah.
I just want to see her think. I want her to not be dead.
Yeah.
Should we talk about Bonesaw's predilection for fairness?
Sure. What did you make of that?
I mean, it's a very childlike thing, right?
Yeah.
The, like, things have to be fair. But she's continuing to have this very, like, everything is great and good. And, like, it's just that her values are very disconnected from normal people's moral values.
Yeah, yeah.
She's like, you guys would both be great siblings. And, like, you'd fight, but, like, you'd love each other deep down.
Yeah, right. So that was so telling. Like, she believes in, like, a really simple, dumb cliche, even though the obvious reality is these siblings don't like each other.
Yes,
right? Like,
yes.
You know, it is a very simple delusion, but it does seem to be one that she wholeheartedly believes in.
She doesn't seem like a child to me because I feel like her childishness is too firmly held in the face of all evidence. Like, I feel like actual children are, like, constantly being exposed to the realization that the things they thought are more complicated or aren't as good as they thought or, you know, are actually hollow, you know. And she seems more like almost a stereotype of, like, an old woman who's, like, sort of like a giggly aunt type. Who's, like, decided this is the way the world is, and please don't swear, and, like...
Yes.
Everyone will like each other, and it'll be great, and you'll all be my siblings.
Yes.
And, like, has just seen a lot of... Like, has seen enough of the world to know that there are bad things, and has consciously decided, like, well, those won't be part of my world. I don't need to worry about them.
Yes. That is a really, really interesting take. I also... what I was thinking is, like, most of the tweens that I know want to seem like they're older.
Right. Yeah.
So it's really notable that she's an 11 or 12-year-old who's, like, really acting like a 7-year-old, right? Like, I feel like she's acting younger, right? Like, or maybe just there's some arrested development there.
Yeah. And maybe she is actually 11. It's just, like, the way that her power has affected her brain has resulted in this. Or she's made deliberate alterations to her brain. That's actually very likely.
Ooh.
She's made deliberate alterations to her brain to, like, not have any negative emotions.
Interesting. The thing that I was going to bring up, and I'm glad you sort of revisited, like, her authenticity, because I didn't want to necessarily ask in a way that you felt like was spoilery or something. But the one that jumped out to me was when they're talking about Siberian's test, she chases people down. Bonesaw says, "I hope she doesn't catch you." Bonesaw sounded disturbingly earnest as she spoke. "There's no meat left for me to work with after she's done."
Yeah.
And I'm like, she could be sincere, but, like, is she just a really good actor? Because this is, like, some of the most effective, like, scary stuff you could say.
Yes.
Like, coming up to me
The
and being
haunted
like,
doll, haunted child vibes.
Exactly. Like,
yeah.
oh, I hope there's still meat on you, like, when she's done chasing you, but I really believe what I'm saying, and I don't know how creepy I sound. Right? Like, really? Really? Is she that far gone?
No, I think it's a choice. It's a deliberate...
Yeah.
But I think it is sincere. I do think she has deliberately chosen to be the type of person who sincerely says these things.
Exactly. The idea of the brain mods is really interesting.
Man, it's going to be tough for Amy to go through all these tests. Look at what she's just been through. Maybe this is when she and Taylor will finally become friends.
They don't all have to survive, okay?
Amy might not be in a position in a mental state to make new friends right now.
I had some other, like, little Slaughterhouse 90 thoughts. We learned that Mannequin and Siberian always do the same test, right? So they're very, like, orderly, relatively. I guess maybe Burnscar also does the same test, but we don't learn what it is. But I was thinking, like...
The Order Muppets and the Chaos Muppets.
Right, but Mannequin feels like... I guess now that... I wasn't thinking about Burnscar, but I was going to say Mannequin feels very orderly. Siberian does not feel like a very order-minded person. But, like, maybe she just loves hunting and, like, wants to keep it simple.
I think so,
you know?
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, she's not someone who presents as cerebral. We know that she's secretly a philosopher.
Yeah.
But she's not trying to keep up any kind of reputation as, like, I'm inventive. Like, she has a thing.
Yeah. And, yeah, one of the tests, Bonesaw's test for Cherish was like, oh, while you're doing your other tests, you're going to have to eat blood or you'll die. But I won't tell you what kind of blood or how much. So, like, this kind of thing is like, it really selects for recruits that will value their own survival over anything else, right? Like, there are no martyrs in the slaughter. There's nobody who cares about, like, any greater cause.
Yeah, no.
Which to me, like, again, I was thinking again, like, Colin's not a good fit, right? Like,
no.
And I do wonder if, like,
Amy's not a good fit.
Right. And, like, Taylor maybe also would never be a good fit for this reason, right? Like, there is this kind of, you know, or even going back to, like, Victoria beating that guy up and being like, oh, come on, are you really the kind of person who's going to keep fighting back and, like, make me punch you so hard I break your back? Right. There is a kind of thing where, like, sometimes people, you can't really predict. You know, the Slaughterhouse 9 can't recruit.
Can't tell who's going to fight back. Yeah.
They're not so powerful they can recruit anyone, right? Like, the kind of stuff that they do, like, some people actually would rather die than become a vampire to survive.
It is going to be really fun just seeing what the tests are. I feel like Wildbow's just going to...
I know. Well, right. And it's such a flex to be like, oh, and all these tests already happened, right? Like, we didn't need to, like, see it all from someone's perspective for the first time, right? Like, these all would have been good, really, like, fun reveals or whatever. Yeah.
It's like, there are going to be enough fun reveals. We don't need these ones.
And I guess we already had Amy a little bit. Like, I feel like that was a really good example of, like, the kind of thing that the Slaughterhouse 9 do to people.
Yes.
I also was wondering this little moment of, so, like, Cherish is absolutely devastated, right?
Yeah.
By having her plan spoiled. And what she goes to is like, what are you going to do with me? And Jack just says, not a pressing concern. So I'm wondering, as they walk away, like, do you have a sense of it's just going to be awkward, you know, conversation? Like, what's going to happen here?
I feel like Cherish is going to develop a more aggressive and self-destructive
She'll double
campaign.
down.
Yes.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
This is why there's a lot of turnover on the Slaughterhouse 9.
Oh, I wanted to talk about someone else who might not be a good candidate for the Slaughterhouse 9, Alec.
Oh, yeah.
Did you have any thoughts about Alec in this chapter?
Let's see. What does he do in this chapter? He provokes Cherish a little bit. He's like, what did my sister have to go through?
Yeah.
Like,
he's a very bratty sibling.
Yes. Probably mostly as a way of gathering information.
Yes. I thought this was so smart.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
It's what he did to Bakada, too, right?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
he kind of has a knack for, like, oh, I'll just make small talk with, like, the most awful people in the world.
Yeah.
And,
I mean, he has history with that.
And he gets them a win, right? Taylor even figures it out. Oh, Shatterbird has better range than Cherish, which is the kind of thing that you might find useful later.
Yeah.
Right? And so, like, the fact that he's like, yeah, I'm a bratty sibling, I'm just curious, and like, yeah,
just want to know what she had to do.
And then, sure, maybe I won't copy her. And Jack's like, ooh, interesting. You know, you won't copy her.
Making it harder for yourself.
Yeah.
And like, I don't think we even got any of the things she did to survive. So it's not even relevant.
He's playing his role of like the bratty brother, but it's also being smart, gathering intel for his team.
And of course, he wants to survive these tests too. Like,
and it's not. I mean, it's a bratty sibling thing, but it's also, I think, I believe in the part of him that is like Cherish, what have you done, you idiot? Right?
Yeah.
Like the sort of like fate's worse than death. You're already there, right? Like this is validating what he was saying to her in Cherish's interlude, and I do sort of see a little bit of that, like, he doesn't think that he would go down Cherish's path.
Yeah, I mean, he escaped and went a very different route than Cherish did.
Which is, we have not had the other shoe drop when it comes to Alec and Thralls in his territory.
That's true.
Right? So I feel like there's a lot of plate spinning for him right now, but it's very interesting to see, to observe that in him in this chapter. But the moment that I really liked, Taylor wipes the blood off and sees Regent and Sundancer crouching at Tattletale's side. Sundancer is our go-to.
Course, yes. She's the heart.
Marissa is diving on everybody who's vomiting or having their face cut in half or anything.
Natural caretaker.
And you know, Regent, of course, he's there. But, right, like, he's not so far gone that he's just going to stand and watch her bleed out, right? And, like, he gets out of the way.
He has people now.
Right, but I love the little detail of him being the first at Lisa's side.
Yeah.
Speaking of Sundancer, yeah, we were kind of saying, like, the Traveler part of the Unravelers were, like, kind of a fun found family we'd want to hang out with.
Yeah.
Did you see any shades of Sundancer's intense, violent, lonely quote in their dynamic? Like, that's kind of how...
Wait, where did that come up? Oh, when she was saying what it's like to be on the Travelers. That's right.
There's some interesting tension there.
Yeah. I mean, I presume most of that was when they were trying to deal with Noelle's situation. And now it's temporarily resolved. They have kind of this respite.
And it has been enough time since Arc 5 that maybe their new normal, like now that Noelle's in the vault, maybe the new normal is a little more livable.
Yeah. And I mean, it's true. Like, the Travelers, maybe as people, seem overall more pleasant, but their situation is much worse. We don't know exactly what it is, but it seems really bad.
Yeah.
Oh, I had one theory that I thought we might get to see play out in this chapter, but we did not. I don't know if it's possible for Regent to map people's nervous systems without them knowing. If it is, I would strongly expect him to have done that to all his teammates. Ooh. So that he could do what he threatened to do to Shadowstalker and, like, at a moment's notice, jump in and control them if need be.
Yeah.
Like, that would just be smart planning.
Yeah.
Even if he's not planning to betray them, like, if Cherish were working on one of them and he could jump in and control their body so they don't kill themselves at her instigation, like, that would be something that would be very important for him to be able to do as a defensive measure for his team.
Yeah.
And my suspicion is that people can tell when he's done this. Like, I don't think it's just a thing that could happen during a peaceful night's sleep, because it seems like it was intense for Shadowstalker. But if it is possible for him, I hope he's done that.
That is really interesting. Yeah.
I mean, it's obviously creepy and underhanded to do that without, like, getting their buy-in, but, like, we've already crossed that line with him.
It's a little bit, though, like, that almost puts him on the level of, like, Amy. Like, if people thought of Amy as somebody who could touch you and do anything to you, right? Like, if people are like, oh, if you're in a room with Alec, then if you're ever in a room with him again, he can take over your body.
If you're in a room with Alec while you're asleep.
Right.
Because I think you'd notice if it were happening while you were awake, certainly.
Yeah, there is a little bit of, like, if that is possible and people had any suspicion, I do feel like they would act differently around him. But
that's true. Well, that's a reason
he could be
for
keeping
him
a secret.
Not to do it except in extremis. So, for example, if he is fighting Bitch at some point in this scenario. Yeah.
I had some thoughts about the Siberian. Taylor thinks that the Siberian could go up against an Endbringer. Yeah. I was wondering, could Colin have beat Leviathan? Same strategy, but with a Siberian knife, whatever that is. Because he could have, like, a clock block or grappling hook, right? So, like, could he make a Siberian knife? And if not,
I mean,
like,
I'm
why
gonna
not?
say,
Would it work? Would his plan with a Siberian knife worked? I guess was the question. It's sort of academic. I don't know, but
that I think just given Colin's power the way we've seen it, in effect, he could make a Siberian knife, which would be somehow untouchable, irresistible.
Yeah.
Both immovable object and irresistible force, I guess.
I do wonder, like, maybe if he made a Siberian knife, it would be, like, laying on his workbench, but then he wouldn't be able to pick it up or move it, and, like, only Siberian could move it. Like, you know, I don't...
That's possible. I think even if he could make that, I think that someone could use it to kill Leviathan. I don't think he actually had the physical chops to do it. Mm-hmm. He's just too breakable. Mm-hmm. So I think we need to send Siberian herself in, but it's such a waste that she's someone who could do it, but she's turned super evil instead. And not a normal villain evil who shows up to fight an Endbringer, but, like, Slaughterhouse 9 evil.
Yeah. And we got exposition that Siberian is immune to Cherish's power.
Oh, yeah. I mean, she seems immune to everything.
Right. So that's... Yeah. That makes sense to you. Yeah. Gru in this chapter... Not a lot going on. He curses out Jack a couple of times. Sort of an interesting role. And a little bit like he does not respond when Taylor's looking for orders. Right. Or at least is the one who responds.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think he feels like he has the authority to give her an order that makes her choose between Lisa and her dad.
Yeah. I was thinking a little bit about the theme, maybe that we talked about this in, like, the Dragon interlude last, of, like, violence to women's bodies in particular being like a horror trope. And we got that again with Cherish. And it's very gendered. Both Jack and Taylor think about the gendered aspect of how awful her tattoos are and her like being unwanted. And also just like, and also like we have a mutilated woman's body like on display here.
Yes.
Which is, you know, which I guess it plays into some horror tropes in a way that like, I feel like it wouldn't intuitively hit the same horror buttons with a gender swap with Cherish.
Yeah, I think that's true. And also, with Tattletale being the one member of their group with a power that doesn't have a physical manifestation, and her having been attacked, is like she, faced with a blade, is a normal person.
Yeah.
And that's just hits extra hard.
Yeah. Not that, you know, having Cherish be a woman or this particular way of tormenting her is like bad in any way, but it was interesting. I'm very interested in tracking the
horror
sort
tropes.
Of, the tropiness of it and how it plays out. Credit to Jack. I don't think his power would make him good at spinning a knife around and catching it by the blade. Presumably that's a thing that he has practiced and is naturally good at.
That makes sense to me, yeah.
Yeah, I was interested. Oh, this was the other Tattletale moment. When Jack starts being like he's trying to turn up the tension by being like, oh, you guys didn't invite us to your meeting. We feel left out. And Tattletale does not play with that. She's like, we were planning to kill you, right? And again, there, right, like, Jack laughs a little too hard for whatever it was he'd found funny about her statement, right? So to me, he's annoyed, but he's trying to, like, preserve his aura, right? Like, it's not until she ruins the Cherish thing that he really snaps. Yeah. But, like it is like fascinating, and like with the knife play and stuff, he cares so much about.
It's so true.
The way he seems, and you know. Yeah. So, what do you make of his test, the do it again test?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he's good at using the people under him.
Yeah, like it's not as characterful as the other ones.
No, right? But like hits so hard. Yeah. I mean, it sort of reflects his role in the Slaughterhouse-9. Like he's kind of the one who sicks the others on their victims.
Yeah.
And he also can recognize, you know, good work by his subordinates and be like, yes, this is what will crack her.
Yes.
Can you imagine getting through all those tests and being like, there's one left, and then you have to do them all again?
I know.
But at that point, I mean, it's the sunk cost thing. You already got the tattoo. You're not going to quit.
I also wonder if it's a little bit like he got what he want with Mannequin's test. Yeah. So like there wasn't he's like, well, yeah, whatever, do him again, you know, just because he's like, you're already broken. Like I'll make you suffer more because that's fun. But like,
yes, I think that's,
you know,
that's
he
accurate.
didn't have to come up with something creative because he'd already
her
seen
keystone
her
had already fallen
exactly.
out.
Yeah. I just love like some of this stuff about like the dynamic between Jack and Bonesaw is great. Like they have lots of like little back and forths, and like the fact that they have this like, you know, maybe their own thing going on versus Cherish. And like the fact that again, they are so powerful. If they had wanted to, they could have walked into this room and slaughtered everyone. Yes. Like I believe that to be true.
Absolutely.
100%. So,
I mean, Siberian could have done it on their own.
Sort of acceptable targets or whatever. But again, they are not interested in efficiently killing people because that's boring. And we've seen the Slaughterhouse-9, like they're all just like really weird and they just do their weird violence for random weird reasons.
Right.
And so like it's not about like who would win in a fight. It's really about like, I guess it's the shogi thing from the last chapter. Like okay, well, yeah, they're if we fight them, they will kill us. We know that they can kill us. And like Jack in this scene, right? Him leaving, like he doesn't get frustrated and decide to kill everyone. He's just like, okay, well, like I can salvage this maybe. Like we'll come back to you with terms. Like let me, go consult my notes. But they're sort of like Bonesaw cares about fairness, and she's like, no cheating. And then a little bit later, Jack's like, you know, I like to mix things up, but I have no interest in playing fair, right? Like they kind of have their different aspects to each other. And then I also loved I was thinking a lot about meta-narrative stuff in this chapter, but when Bonesaw's like, I want to make my test fair. And we know that Bonesaw really cares about impressing Jack, right? Uh-huh. Jack is trying to like cultivate her, like she was saying to Amy, like I'm trying to be better at this. And she's like, if I don't make the test fair, then it's like favoritism, right? Like, I don't want to pick favorites. And Jack's like, oh, you're smart. You'll work it out. And I was thinking a little bit about like Wildbow writing this is picking who's going to live and who's going to die. And I do wonder how much... Dice. Right. No, exactly. But that's one way to make it fair. I do wonder how much is like Wildbow's like, yes, I see the long, arc of the story like Jack, and I can't wait for that moment when I get to finally kill everyone's favorite character. Versus Bonesaw, where it's like, bitch versus Regent, like, I don't want to like stack the deck. Like, let's see how it goes. Like, let's set up a fair fight and just see how it goes, right? Like, two very different approaches to writing this kind of life and death story. Yeah, I mean, I think that's all I got.
All right. Well, I've already made a lot of predictions. Should we talk about the next chapter?
Yeah.
Any cape names?
No cape names.
Okay. What's the first sentence?
I could kill them right now.
Huh. It's not an interlude, though.
Mm-mm. This is a Taylor internal thought.
Okay, so that is a Taylor internal thought.
It's in italics.
I could kill them right now. Who could she possibly kill? Not those Slaughterhouse 9 members. I mean, certainly not Siberian. I could kill them right now. The bugs. Is there a group of people ahead of her that's like blocking her way or like getting in the way?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's probably the most likely context for that thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, this will be interesting.
The next one is iconic to me.
Okay, I'm excited.
One of the warmest chapters of all time. Again, I'm not, it's not like the hospital scene chapter. It's not like the principal's office chapter, but like it is iconic to me.
All right, well, we'll see.
Next time.
On Inchworm.
Worm is a web serial by J.C. McCrae. You can read Worm at parahumans.wordpress.com and support the author at patreon.com/wildbow. Follow us on Tumblr and Blue Sky at Inchworm Podcast, or find our Discord link and any other updates on inchwormpodcast.com.